We're at the Author Studio at BookExpo America 2013 in New York City. And our guest right now is Jon McGoran, and you have written a book called Drift. Welcome.
Thank you.
Very
happy to be here. I'll hold it up right here.
Absolutely.
There
Tell me about Drift. What's it about?
Drift is an ecological thriller. It's part police novel, but it's definitely a thriller. It's a science thriller about genetically modified foods and the kind of blurring line between food and pharmaceuticals, agricultural pharmaceuticals.
Now, it sounds like an odd genre, but it's really becoming more and more popular, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, there's always been this kind of genre, these science thrillers, Michael Crichton, that type of thing, Douglas Preston. And frankly, the stuff that's been going on in our food systems over the last 10 or 15 years are really kind of crazy. I've been writing about that in my other life, my day job life, and the more I wrote about and learned about what was happening with food, the more it seemed like it was already a thriller, just the ideas kept jumping off out of the newspaper, as I was writing about food and reading about food. I figured it was time to write something like this.
All right, tell me a little more about the plot. What makes it thrilling?
Well, I mean, when you're writing about GMOs, there's something that's just like innately thriller about it just to start with, and that you've got these altered life forms that are being released into the environment without being adequately tested. So that right there, the way I see it, that's a thriller right there. But that's just the backstory. That's kind of what's already happened, and that's what we're dealing with today. So in this book, it kind of takes it a step further, and it centers around people who want to release certain things into the environment that are going to cause problems. I don't want to give away the ending. Sure. Because they're problems that they can solve with other genetically modified things that they've done. So they're kind of creating a demand for something that they can fix, and putting millions of people's lives at risk in order to do it. So I think some of that, maybe not to the same extent, is going on today. Maybe this is a little allegorical, but I think some of it is also, right out of the newspapers.
Is there a definitive ending, or have you left it open-ended, possibly for a sequel?
Look for Dead Out coming out in August 2014.
Well, I teed you up on that one, didn't I?
Thank you so much.
You've written thrillers before.
I have, yes.
Is this similar to what you've written before?
Well, it's different in a lot of ways, and one of the things that makes it different from a lot of thrillers, I realized as I was writing it, it's written in the first person. Which I really like writing, and I really like reading. It allows you to really kind of get into the character and really, yeah, exactly, and have the voice of the character be really, really strong, which I find really entertaining to read and to write. But there's a lot of kind of conventions of the thriller, meeting the villain early on, starting the action early on, that when you limit your point of view, it makes it kind of tricky. There was a time when I was kind of second-guessing if that was the right way to go, but I thought, it's a challenge, but I think it's a challenge I'm up to, and I think it made it, in a way, more interesting book to write, and hopefully a more interesting book to read. Now,
Jon, you mentioned your real-life job, and you've had a number of jobs through your career, but in essence, you've really always been a writer, haven't you?
I have, yeah, it's true, it's true. I started out when I was in grade school writing short stories. I had some great teachers who would read my stories and lie to me about how bad they were, and I wrote music for a long time, and I've written journalistically. I've written some satire. Definitely, writing is my thing, and that's what I love to do.
You were 12 years old, you said, when you first started?
I was probably 11 or 12.
11 or 12?
Yeah. I wish I could find. I mean, it's probably a good thing I can't find them, but I would love to, in the privacy of my own home, go back and read some of those stories, but they're lost to the sands of time or whatever.
Well, what type of musician are you?
I played bass. I was in a band for about 10 years. We did all originals. We played all the big clubs in Philadelphia. We didn't play much further than that. We made the fatal flaw of managing ourselves.
It's like representing yourself in court.
Exactly.
What's the old saying? The man who
the man who represents himself as a fool
for a lawyer.
Yeah. So yeah, the same thing. Bands who represent themselves as fools for clients. But even when I was playing music and even when I was writing music, I really wanted to be writing fiction. That was always kind of in the back of my mind. So luckily, I was a failure at music. And that allowed me to get back to my true love, which was writing prose.
How has Drift been received so far?
Drift has gotten a really good reception. I mean, it's early days yet. The official launch is July 9th, but we just got a starred review in Publishers Weekly last week. Realsimple.com listed it as one of their great summer reads for this summer.
Nice.
And the book list just gave it a really nice review, compared it to Michael Crichton and Robert Preston, and said very nice things about it. So, we're optimistic.
Have you ever been on a beach or in an airport or on an airplane and you've seen somebody reading your book?
I have. It's a very,
very exciting.
It's a very exciting thing. Yeah. It's very, very exciting.
I thought about that when you said a good vacation, a good summer thriller.
Yep. I'm hoping to experience that this summer. I might stage it just so I can kind of, see what it's like.
Head one out to each of the flight attendants, right?
Yeah, that's right. Can you hold this book while I walk out? Walk up to get a drink.
Well, fantastic. Once again, show everybody the book. It's called Drift.
Drift.
And it's by Jon McGoran.
Yep.
And I wish you a lot of luck with it.
That's great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, John.
Great.